Welcome back to the Magnolia Shine podcast. I'm your host, Trellis Williams, alongside the one and only Blake Levine. We appreciate you joining us. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, like and share with anyone who would be interested as well. Just follow our Facebook page. Got a lot of good stuff, Mississippi sports related, on the Magnolia Shine podcast Facebook page. Blake, listen, we had a really good week. We had a lot of games. We picked 14 on the last show, and we're about to go over them. We had some interesting stuff happen this past week.
Yeah, for the first time you beat me on the picks, which, I guess it took till week 7, but that's okay.
That's kind of crazy.
That's
All right.
okay. Yeah, I went 8-6. I didn't do that bad, but you had a fire week with 10-4. But we lost some undefeated teams because a lot of undefeated teams played each other in some really high scoring
That's right.
games, some impressive stuff, some close games. So just another great week.
That's right. And kind of going ahead and jumping on into it, on Thursday night we saw a big matchup between Cleveland Central and Holmes County Central. Going into this ball game, Cleveland Central was 2-2. Holmes County was 5-1, and we kind of previewed this ball game. We both had picked Holmes County Central just based on how they were playing, and wow, Cleveland Central comes in and wins the ball game 48-34. Put up a lot of points on Holmes County. But hey, Cleveland Central with a little coming out party here to start off region play.
Yeah, so one of the things is for Cleveland Central is preseason, I had them as the second best team in 5A, right?
Yeah,
So that was the team that I expected. And I guess this past Thursday, we got the team that was the second best team in 5A. So for them, very impressive. Holmes, the defense was tough. I mean, because I believe they still put up 34 points.
they
Right,
did.
like they,
They
they, they
did.
were still able. Right, they were still able to score the ball, and I have no fear that Holmes County is going to score the ball. But it's concerning, the points they gave up to Louisville. It's concerning the points they've given up now to Cleveland Central. The defense just has not been there consistently for them. And then when we look at the Wolves side, I mean, Cleveland Central again. If there's going to be a team that's going to mess around and play with West Point, it's the team that did it last year. Now, would I ever pick that? No, I ain't picking that. But I'm just saying that was a close game last year, and Cleveland Central was not that far away from going to a state championship game.
Yeah,
Maybe they're just one of those teams that gets better as the season goes.
possibly so. And so look, Cleveland Central gets a big win there. Then we had Ocean Springs and D'Iberville. So this featured an undefeated team in D'Iberville, 6-0. Ocean Springs was 5-1 going into the game, but Ocean Springs had just suffered their first loss to Gulfport at home. So Ocean Springs was hungry. We both picked Ocean Springs to win this game, and we were indeed right. 42-21. They handed to D'Iberville. And listen, now D'Iberville has their first loss of the season. They're 1-1 in region play. Blake, if you're D'Iberville, what are you thinking after a game like that?
Yeah, that's a little disappointing because I wanted them to put up an effort in a game where, okay, if they played with Ocean Springs, could they beat a Gulfport and maybe get into that top 2 seed? Now it's going to be tough for D'Iberville to get into that top 2 level of that district. Beating West Harrison was really good, and it's probably going to put them in that 3 spot, and they'll probably have to go to a Oak Grove, a Petal, maybe even a Brandon, and just depending on how that district shapes up. And they're going to have to probably be
Yeah,
on the road for most of the playoffs. For Ocean Springs, this is the team. This everyone here thinks that Ocean Springs, if they're going to make a title game, it's going to be this year because they beat Petal, who arguably looks like the best team in their district. And maybe Petal's just, wasn't fully whole that game. But either way, Ocean Springs won that game. That's why it was so disappointing to see their defense get torched. Now, running back gets an offer from Mississippi State and Auburn and Cooper Crosby, right after that game. So maybe, Gulfport had a running back, not everyone, was fully aware of. But for Ocean Springs, just really positive, being able to snap that 25 game district winning streak last week and then come back and show the dominance.
Yeah, so we see Ocean Springs get that win over D'Iberville, but we haven't even looked at it from Ocean Springs' point of view as much. I guess we did. I guess you talked about that a little bit. But Ocean Springs, listen, they really needed this win. They really needed this win after losing to Gulfport, and they're able to get it done. So, but then we got Starkville and Germantown. This is one we both picked wrong. We both picked Starkville in this one, and Germantown blows them out. Really, I mean, almost. They beat them by 17 points, 3 scores, 45 to 28. Germantown did host this game. They went into the ball game 3-2. Starkville was 4-1. Now they both stand at 4-2 after the game, but the Mavericks coming away with the 45-28 win.
Apparently, Germantown can beat anybody and lose to anybody on any given
Yeah.
weekend. I mean, they've beat some good teams and blown them out too. It's not like they're just winning some of these games in close calls. I mean, they've blown two teams, Oak Grove and Starkville, out
Yeah.
on their home field. Who would have thought the preseason Germantown was blowing out Oak Grove and Starkville at home? Oh my goodness! And then lose some games that they probably shouldn't. Right? I think they lost to Northwest Rankin and Warren Central, maybe. I,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember the couple that they lost. Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. But man, they can beat or lose to anybody. And Starkville, that's it. I'm off. I'm off. I'm off. I rode the Starkville team for as long as I could, and now I'm selling stock. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Can they win a couple playoff games? Sure. But the consistency level is just not there. Their defense is just not good enough. If a team has a good offensive game plan, they're going to score 40, 50 points on them. They just can't stop anybody.
Yeah, I mean, and I never looked at them as like a championship contender as much, but I think they could win a couple rounds in the playoffs. And if you win a couple rounds in the playoffs, you had a good season, especially with a first year head coach
Not
and
when
a
you're
first year
Starkville,
quarterback.
though. Not when you're Starkville. You're a championship or bust school.
Yeah, I mean, but when you're having to deal with the likes of Tupelo, and here's the thing. We've talked about, Brandon had a bye this week, but the thing about Brandon is that if they get everything together, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with them at the end of the season. I mean, right now they're not looking the greatest, but they keep having different guys injured. But if they're able to have everybody healthy, and then they have their coach, having weeks under his belt with this team, I mean, they could really make some. I mean, we might be looking at Tupelo and Brandon again, and just going a roundabout way to getting at the end again. So we'll have to see moving forward. But now I hear what you're saying there. So we got Macomb and Columbia. Now this is one that's really hyped up there. We had two 6-0 teams, two undefeated teams. But we both I felt like we both knew what the deal was. We both picked Columbia to win this game, and Columbia handles Macomb. 38-14. I think what we're looking at here is just we got a team in Columbia that's 4A, but they compete as if they're like classes ahead.
I mean, you talk about them beating Petal, right? Like, and we think Petal's serious.
Yeah.
So, and Macomb just goes and beats Poplarville, and is undefeated, and Columbia just walks into their, obviously they were home, walks onto their Wildcat field and just said, "Nah, this is light work. This is light work." And it's no disrespect to Macomb. I mean, Macomb's a really good football team, but that just may be the difference. I mean, Columbia has now solidified themselves overwhelming favorite in 4A, not in the South, but just in general. However, the North got really interesting. But
it did. We're going to talk about
let's
that
just
later.
talk. Yeah, I think overwhelming favorite across the board, but definitely for the South. It's going to be tough for a Poplarville or Macomb, and obviously Columbia is going to have to play one, if not both of them, in the playoffs. Maybe the second time around it's different, but Columbia's at this point, because Macomb beat Poplarville, Columbia should have, the home field throughout. I mean, unless I guess if Macomb wins their district, I always forget, if it's even or odd this year. But either way, Macomb's only chance to beat Columbia is if it's a home game for Macomb, and I'm not so sure if that's the case this year with the region setup. Oh man, that Columbia team's good.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Now, would you see if Poplarville and Columbia face off that Poplarville might be a better matchup for Columbia than Macomb, just because Poplarville scores a bunch of points? Yeah. And Macomb only was able to put up 14. I feel like Poplarville would put up more than that.
Yeah, but can Poplarville stop Columbia? I mean,
well, I'm not saying that at all. Yeah, I'm not saying that at all. But
I guess I think the matchup for Columbia and if they were going to lose, Poplarville would probably have a better shot just because the way that they are and some of the tools that they have. I mean, I think Macomb is a better team than Poplarville, and they beat them. but matchups do matter. Matchups do
Yeah.
matter, and maybe Macomb's hoping that Poplarville plays Columbia the round before and knocks them off, and then Macomb gets that home game in the playoffs.
That'd be something else. That'd be something else if that happened there. You got Ridgeland and Warren Central. All right, so Ridgeland was undefeated going into this game. Warren Central was 3-2, but obviously Warren Central always plays a really tough 9-region schedule, so we knew that Warren Central was strong going into this game. The game was played in Vicksburg at Robert Morgan Field. Warren Central gets the win 21-14. The Vikings had a 21-0 lead early. Ridgeland closed the gap, and Warren Central was able to hold them off, getting a 21-14 win, handing Ridgeland their first loss, putting Warren Central firmly in the driver's seat in that region, because that region, I mean, that's basically the 1 and 2 matchup. We'll have to see what happens. The rest of the region is populated by, you got Callaway, Canton, Neshoba, and I don't remember what the last team is, but those three teams, those two are definitely better than those three teams. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes from moving forward. But hey, Warren Central gets the win.
Yeah, obviously the score, like you said, didn't dictate really how the game was, which was Warren Central was up 21-0, right? And Ridgeland is a running football team, and so you do that, and then it's going to be tough to come back. And Warren Central must have just tried to run the clock out, early in that game. Warren Central's a really good football team. We've talked about this over and over again. They've righted the ship. I am still very impressed with Ridgeland, however. I think Ridgeland is a player. I think Ridgeland could upset somebody in the playoffs. And, I always talk about this, and you can always go check out my TikTok. Before we did this podcast, I posted the most surprising and most disappointing teams in each class. And Ridgeland was my most surprising in 6A, right? It's not who's the best, but who's been the most surprising. And I think Ridgeland, at least pulling it within a score at the end, and maybe being the second best team in their district, and a possible top 3 team in the North. Yeah, that's a surprising team, and then they've been very impressive.
Yeah, so Warren Central gets the win there. We both picked Warren Central to win that game. Then we had Clarkdale and Union. These were two undefeated teams. The game was played at Union. Union gets the win. This is when I picked Union. You picked Clarkdale, but Union wins 25-7. And so, listen, Union rolls on 7-0.
Yeah, Union, super impressed, man. I look, Clarkdale had a lot of really nice little wins early in this season, and they ran into a buzzsaw. They ran into a team that just flat out was better than they were. And Clarkdale's got to regroup and figure out, if we meet with Union again, what are we gonna do?
Yep.
And for Union, I don't know the path through the playoffs and how tough their district is, compared to the others. But at the end of the day, when you're 7-0, you had to beat somebody, and those other, the kids on the other team are trying hard too. They're not playing a computer here. I mean, they're trying a team that's trying to beat you, and they're human beings. And when you're 7-0, you can't take anything away from them. They've just been super great.
Yeah. And then move down, we see Jackson Prep, Jackson Academy. This is one you picked right, I picked wrong. You picked JA, I picked Prep. The game was close. 16-7 was the final score. Very low-scoring game. I don't know if you're able to put your eyes on this one, Blake. But 16-7, JA coming away with it, but Jackson Prep giving them a tough fight.
It just shows you how good Jackson Academy's defense really is.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we talked about what they did to Mag Heights the week before. There's only been one team that has put points on them, and it's arguably the best offense in the state, and that's MRF.
Yeah.
And so that otherwise Jackson Academy just does not give up points, and their offense can just play ball control and be a little bit more methodical, a little more careful. Now when they play MRA at some point, they're going to have to be aggressive and try to score some points here, because I just don't know how their defense is going to hold them under 20. But for Jackson Academy, again, one of the best defenses in the state. They showed again. Jackson Prep, good effort. That was a really good effort. They just, at some point, they just were out athlete, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And then we look down after that. We got Petal and Oak Grove. All right, this was this to open up region play here. Game was down in Hattiesburg at Oak Grove. Petal wins 28-21, and so now the Panthers looking pretty good in that region. This is a big road game for them, and they're able to get the job done there. What say you, Blake? So I picked Petal, you picked Oak Grove. This was one that we were like, man, what's going to happen here? Petal comes away with the win. What did you think looking at this game?
So for me, this was one of, we talked about the most interesting games of the week, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there were some others that we would say the games of the week. Some undefeated teams, the Columbia, the Macombs, the Clarkdale Unions. The Weston, the Lloyd Star. Right? So just some undefeated battles. But this, in the highest class, was the most interesting game, right? Because this was
yeah.
possibly who's going to win the district and have home field for most of the playoffs, if not all the playoffs. And Petal is the team. And I felt bad because I was like, Petal was the team. I've kind of been riding that wagon,
Yeah.
preseason and going into the year. And then I come out and I take Oak Grove.
Yeah, but Oak Grove
And
was on a tear though. They were before this game.
Petal is just getting better and better, just better
They
and
are.
better. We talked about this. Marcus Boyle's second year too. Marcus Boyle's the coach that kind of has his team always better at the end of the season than they were when the season started, and that's what makes a great coach. Oak Grove still threat though. The defense is playing better. I mean, it's not great, but it's playing better. But still, Petal just was the better team on Friday.
Yeah, so Petal beats Oak Grove 28-21. Then we had Sumrall and South Jones, another game that we picked. South Jones headed into this game undefeated, and they remain after beating Sumrall 6-0. Man, low scoring game there, defensive ball game. South Jones able to hold on and continue to roll with a 7-0 record.
So Summerall to me, I almost was more impressed with Summerall losing than I was South Jones winning.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't think that was going to be that close of a game. And now I walk away and I go, man, Summerall's defense stepped up, Summerall, okay, they can stop some of these offenses. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this is good. I'm like, okay, I'm buying into Summerall as a team to win some playoff games here. South Jones, look, a win's a win, and when you're undefeated, now you have wins over West Jones and Summerall and some other teams in your area, right? So South Jones, I mean, look, at the end of the day, they're winning football games, so I'm not taking anything away from them. I guess I was more impressed with Summerall, the team that lost, because I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, so if you look at South Jones going for the rest of the season, they're in the same region as Brookhaven as well as Laurel. And so Laurel obviously is a big rivalry game for South Jones, but then you got Brookhaven, which is going to be a tough one, and they're going to have to play that one on the road. Of course, next week's against North Pike, which they haven't won a single game. So, South Jones
they should be fine over North Pike. They should be fine over North Pike.
So they should be going into Brookhaven 8-0. So in a couple of weeks, we're probably going to be talking about that one. Brookhaven, South Jones and Brookhaven, because that'll be big to determine how that region plays out. So South Jones continuing as they get the win. You got Picayune and Pascagoula. We both picked Picayune, but I was pretty surprised by this one because Pascagoula was up early, and Picayune barely edges them out 38-36. Blake, does this make you? This makes me a little concerned about Picayune. Does this make you concerned about Picayune at all? Just of them being vulnerable because they might be.
Yes, here's the thing: Picayune keeps winning football games, but every football game, no matter how good or bad the opponent is, that's what they're playing, right?
That's right.
It's a close game. It's like a close game every single week. Now, shout out to Pascagoula here, putting up bunch of points, But at the same time, here's another game where I was arguably more impressed with the team that lost and more disappointed in the team that won.
Yeah.
Picayune should have won that game by double digits. They can't be giving up 40 points like this. This has happened a few times now. It can't be that bad. All these coast games, it's like the old Pac-12 where there's just so much offense, like the Big 12 conference. Like there's all these 40, 50-point games.
There are.
And wow. Pascagoula, maybe they bounce back and they're a little bit better than we think, but Picayune they can't keep giving up all these points.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. They do give up a lot of points, but the thing is that
they score a lot.
If you can never stop them, then they can let you score as long as they get a few more points. So
Yeah, but you
Picayune
can't,
wins.
because at some point somebody's going to stop them, and they're going to have to pick up some stops and
Yeah.
rely on that defense. It's not gonna be a road where they just score 40 points every single game in the playoffs. Somebody's going to put them in the 20s, and Picayune then is going to have to stop the other team and put
Yeah.
them in the 20s.
Like the big question is if they're able to make it to the championship game, which that'd be a question. There are teams that they could run into before then, but like a Grenada, like do you think Grenada is going to let them score 40 something, 50 something points? I just have a tough time imagining that.
I don't think Warren Central. I don't think Warren Central or Ridgeland's letting them score 40.
Yeah, I mean, probably not, probably not. So, but so that'd be the big question. That'd be the big question moving forward. So Picayune beats Pascagoula. Then we had Senatobia taking on Clarksdale. Senatobia 6-0, Clarksdale 5-1 going into this ball game. You pick Senatobia, I pick Clarksdale. Clarksdale wins. They win this ball game 16-7. Very low scoring game there. Clarksdale coming away with the win over Senatobia, giving Senatobia their first loss.
Yeah, Clarksdale now only has one loss, and that was right. That was at Cleveland Central, or did they beat Cleveland Central? No, they beat Cleveland Central early in the year.
Yeah, they got a big win.
But
I can check that.
yeah, please check that, because I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but you know what? That's why we have you, Trellis. You ready to fact check on the computer right away. Yes, Senatobia undefeated, but this was the first time they really stepped up with some competition that was at their level, if not better, and they lost. For Clarksdale, they're getting better every week. They're getting that every single week. I'm more and more impressed with Clarksdale, and they've played some tough teams this year, especially out of district, and it's going to help them in the long run. Some of these Delta schools in these 4-5, 1 through 5As have actually been really good this year. From Simmons to Northside to Clarksdale to Cleveland Central. There's a lot of them. Charleston. There's been a few that are playing good. So impressed with those Wildcats.
Yeah, so Clarksdale, they did beat Cleveland Central first week, 26-24. Their loss was to South Panola, 21-13.
Yeah.
At South Panola, which is a 6A school.
And South Panola's been playing better here recently. They've been disappointing overall, but they've been playing better.
Yeah, they have. So that's Clarksdale able to get that win. They moved to 6-1. Senatobia falls to 6-1. Then we see Brookhaven Academy, Park Lane. We both kind of saw this one coming. We both picked Park Lane, and they win 35-0 over Brookhaven Academy.
Yeah, not much to say, right? Park Lane Academy, obviously one of the best teams in the private school, one of the best teams in the state. And, the question is are they, I would rank them above Hartfield and Jackson Prep right now. They beat Jackson Prep. Hartfield's banged up from time to time, and, their record is what it is. So it just, Park Lane, if they're in that second Division 2 of 4A, they'll be the overwhelming favorites. It's gonna be somebody's gonna have to play special to beat them. Somebody's gonna have to play special. Matter of fact, they're the only undefeated private school team left in 11-man. There's 4 8-mans that are undefeated, but they're the last private school.
Yeah. So wow. So yeah. So then we look down. We see St. Martin and Gulfport. Okay, this is one that I picked the upset on, St. Martin, and I was just totally wrong. You picked Gulfport. Gulfport.
Did you see that comment?
40-0.
Did you see that comment that guy put?
I did not. What did it say?
He joked with me. He said, "Trellis ain't watching no film if he's picking St. Martin."
Oh man, well hey, look, St. Martin.
By the way, thank you for that. Hey, thank you for that comment, though. By the way, thank you for that comment, because I was laughing. I was like, man, I can't believe Trellis picking St. Martin.
Well, see, here's the thing. So Gulfport looking pretty good. 40-0 win. They moved to 4-2 on the season. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah,
for you, was it just nothing?
No. Well, first off, Gulfport was never going to lose this game. There's not much more to say. But I'm here. But I want to attack you right now.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Okay. This is now the third game in 2 weeks you have picked against a team that has won by 40 or more to 0. Trellis.
That
you
is
can't
that.
Keep doing
yeah.
this.
I can't.
I mean,
And
that's 3 times in 2 weeks.
that's 3 times in 2 weeks. Now, last week, of course, was just an awful week for me. I went 3-7, and I picked against
Oh,
Holmes County Central. They won 42-0. I picked against Jackson Academy against Magnolia Heights, and they won 52-0. And then I go 10-4 one week, and I still don't escape the week without picking a game like that. That's crazy.
no. Hey! I'm giving you all the credit in the world for beating me for the first time this year. However, I'm not letting you get out of this pick. These picks are some of these. I mean, man, I love that you like to go against the grain,
Yeah, you know.
but go against the grain on some close ones.
Yeah, so okay, all right. Look, we're gonna have to just move on here. Okay, so St. Martin loses apparently to Gulfport 40-0. But here is the game that really like we were wondering about, and I think we learned a little something after Kosciusko and Louisville. Louisville was hosting this one. Louisville wins 29-24. Kosciusko now no longer undefeated. They're 6-1. Louisville 5-2. Blake, what were your thoughts on that one? Kosciusko, they were not only were they winning every game, they were hammering everybody. And now they take a loss to Louisville, which just shows that Louisville can compete with absolutely anybody.
The announcement and the statements of Louisville's demise in 2025 were greatly exaggerated. They are back. They are the favorites once again in the North, and that is what it is. I don't care where that game was played. It could have been played on the moon. Louisville was a better team on Friday night. Could Kosciusko beat them in the playoffs? 100%. However, come on now, Tyrone Shorter. I posted a picture on our Facebook earlier today. If no nonsense was a coach, that would be Tyrone Shorter because they go into a game, they're not talking, and all they do is walk away with another win in another big game. Louisville is serious, and they're the favorites once again in the North.
Yeah, so Louisville. Look, I mean, here's the thing about Louisville is that I think that they could beat Columbia. Because here's the thing.
Yo, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and the reason why I say that is because like they almost beat West Point, and we're looking at West Point as being like the best. They beat Tupelo, and they're looking at them as like the best team in the state. So every time Louisville plays a game, they have a chance to win. Like every time.
Every time they play in a big game, expect them to compete.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a team to look out for. Louisville winning 29-24 over Kosciusko. I got to say, though, I picked Louisville to win this game. I also was impressed with Kosciusko because I don't think that they should panic at all. They lost 29-24 to Louisville on the road. They're in good shape.
Yeah, Kosciusko has nothing to hang their hat about. I mean, of course you want the win. You want to try to have an undefeated season. But the next time they play, because I think they're going to be playing again here, they're not scared to play that game. I mean, they're fully confident.
Yeah, and I would definitely think so. So, folks, look, those are 14 games that we picked, and of course, we have our running tally here. Going into this game, Blake, you were 39-21, and now you are 47-27. All right, so that's pretty good. That's really good, actually. That's 47-27. So I was 28-32 going into this week. And so now I'm 38-36. So I'm back over 500. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So look, we have our running tally, and folks, I finally won. I won week 7. And so I should be congratulated for that, and I'll congratulate myself for that right here on the show. So this is the Magnolia Shine podcast. We will be talking week 8 on Thursday, and then on Wednesday we're going to be talking to some college football. We had some interesting stuff happen this past weekend in college football that we're going to talk about. And I know, Blake, you're able to catch a game and everything, so we're going to be we're going to dive deep on Wednesday.
I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. And so then we got week 8 high school coverage coming up on Friday, and we're very much looking forward to that. We're just continuing to dive into region play, some more big games next week that we will discuss. the one and only Blake Levine alongside myself, Trellis Williams. This is the Magnolia Shine Podcast. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button. We out.